There are places that shouldn't exist. Places between the walls of reality, where the geometry of the world breaks down and you find yourself somewhere else. Somewhere wrong. The internet calls them the backrooms. If you're not careful, if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, you might noclip out of reality. You'll find yourself in a place with no exit. Endless rooms stretching in every direction. Yellow walls. Fluorescent lights humming overhead. The smell of old carpet and something else. Something you can't quite name. You're not alone in there. But you wish you were. Because the things that live in the backrooms remember what it felt like to be human. And they're curious about what you taste like. The backrooms, according to those who claim to have been there, are not a single place. They are layered. Like an onion. Like a building with too many basements. Each level has its own rules. Its own atmosphere. Its own way of breaking your mind. Level 0 is the one everyone knows. The yellow rooms. The fluorescent lights. The endless corridors that loop back on themselves. It's the lobby. The waiting room. The place you end up when you first fall through. Level 0 is empty. Mostly. The people who've been there describe a profound loneliness. Not the peaceful solitude of being alone in nature, but the crushing weight of being somewhere that was never meant to hold life. The air is stale. The lights never turn off. The carpet is always damp. And the walls, always the walls, yellow, textured, warm to the touch, as if something is breathing behind them. Level 0 goes on forever. Or at least it feels that way. People who've spent time there report losing track of hours. Days. They walk in what they think is a straight line and end up back where they started. The geometry doesn't make sense. Corridors that should lead somewhere just curve back around. Doors that should open onto other rooms open onto more of the same yellow walls. Time doesn't work right in level 0. Your watch might stop. Your phone might die. Or it might keep working. But the time it shows doesn't match how long you've been there. You'll walk for what feels like hours and your watch will say only 20 minutes have passed. Or you'll sit down for what feels like minutes and your watch will say it's been days. Level 1 is different. Larger rooms. Concrete floors. Dimmer lighting. Crates and barrels scattered throughout. As if someone was storing things here once. Or as if the backrooms are trying to mimic a warehouse. Trying to remember what a warehouse looks like. The crates in level 1 are a mystery. Some are empty. Some contain objects that don't make sense. A single shoe. A stack of blank paper. A radio that plays static. A few people claim to have found food in the crates. Canned goods with no labels. Water bottles with no expiration dates. The food is edible, but eating it feels wrong. Like the backrooms are feeding you to keep you there longer. Level 1 is also where you start to hear things. Distant sounds. Footsteps that aren't yours. Voices that might be speaking words or might just be noise. The sounds come from everywhere and nowhere. You can never pinpoint where they're coming from. Level 2 is the pipes. Endless corridors of exposed piping and industrial machinery. The sound of water dripping. The smell of rust and something chemical. It's darker here. The lights flicker. And sometimes, if you're very quiet, you can hear the machines breathing. The pipes in level 2 are massive. Some are as wide as cars. They run along the walls, across the ceilings, under the floors. They carry things. Water. Steam. Something else. The pipes are warm to the touch. Sometimes they vibrate. Sometimes they make sounds that almost sound like speech. Level 2 is where the entities start to appear. Not always. Not everywhere. But more often than in level 0 or level 1. You'll see shapes in the distance. Humanoid shapes that move wrong. They'll disappear when you look directly at them, but you'll feel them watching you. Level 3 is where the geometry breaks completely. Rooms that fold in on themselves. Staircases that lead to ceilings. Doors that open into other doors. It's a place that's giving up on pretending to be a place. Level 3 is where reality starts to fray. The walls might be made of something that isn't quite solid. The floor might feel soft like it's breathing. The air might taste wrong. Colors might look different. Sounds might echo in ways that don't make sense. People who've been to level 3 say it feels like the backrooms are dreaming. Like the space itself is unstable. Like it could collapse at any moment. Or like it's about to wake up. And below that, below level 3, people who've been there don't like to talk about it. There are people who go looking for the backrooms. They call themselves Noclip explorers. They claim to have found ways to slip between the walls of reality, to find the seams where the world is thin and push through. Most of them are lying, but some of them aren't. The methods vary. Some say you need to find a place where reality is already weak. Abandoned buildings, places where something terrible happened, spaces that have been forgotten by the world. Others say you need to perform specific actions. Walk in a certain pattern. Think about the backrooms while falling asleep. Stand in front of a mirror at exactly 3:33 a.m. and don't blink for 33 seconds. The most common method is simpler. You just have to want it enough. You have to believe so deeply that the backrooms are real that reality starts to bend around that belief. You have to noclip out of the world the same way a video game character clips through a wall when the code breaks. There are videos online. Grainy footage of empty rooms. People talking to the camera with wide eyes, describing things they've seen that they can't explain. They show the yellow walls, the fluorescent lights, the endless corridors, and then the videos stop. The explorers disappear. Their social media goes quiet. Their friends say they just stopped responding to messages, as if they fell through a crack in the world and no one noticed until it was too late. Some people think the backrooms are a metaphor, collective dream, a story we tell ourselves about the spaces between places. But the people who've been there know better. They know that the backrooms are real, that they're waiting, that if you're not careful, if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, you might slip through. And once you're in, there's no way out. There are communities online, people who share information about the backrooms, maps that might be accurate or might be lies, tips for survival, warnings about which levels to avoid. Some of these communities are helpful. Some of them are traps. Some of them are run by things that aren't human, feeding false information to people who might try to enter the backrooms. Because the backrooms don't want you to leave. They want you to stay. They want you to become part of them, to forget the world outside, to forget your name, to forget what it meant to be human. And the entities help with that. They guide you deeper. They show you things that make you forget. They make you comfortable. They make you forget that you ever wanted to leave. Some people spend years in the backrooms. They build shelters. They find food. They learn the patterns. They learn which corridors are safe and which ones aren't. They learn to avoid the entities. They learn to survive. But they never learn how to leave. Because there is no leaving. There's only going deeper, or staying where you are, or being found by something that doesn't want you to stay anymore. The backrooms are patient. They've been around since before the internet, since before humans. They've been waiting in the spaces between realities for something to give them a name, to give them a shape, to make them real. And now that they're real, they're hungry. hungry for more people, more memories, more things to consume and make part of themselves. Every person who enters the backrooms makes them stronger. Every person who disappears makes them more solid. Every person who forgets their name and becomes a faceling makes them more real. And they're always hungry for more. The backrooms are patient. They've been around since before the internet, since before humans. They've been waiting in the spaces between realities for something to give them a name, to give them a shape, to make them real. And now that they're real, they're hungry. Hungry for more people, more memories, more things to consume and make part of themselves. Every person who enters the backrooms makes them stronger. Every person who disappears makes them more solid. Every person who forgets their name and becomes a faceling makes them more real. And they're always hungry for more. The backrooms are real, not as a story, not as a metaphor, but as a place that exists in the spaces between the walls of reality. A place that was born from collective fear and shaped by collective imagination. If you ever find yourself in an empty office building, if you ever walk down a hallway that seems too long, if you ever feel like the walls are watching you, like the fluorescent lights are humming a little too loud, like the carpet is damp and warm under your feet, don't panic, don't run. Just remember you're already in the backrooms. You just haven't woken up yet, and maybe you never will, because the backrooms don't let you wake up. They don't let you leave. They don't let you forget. They just keep you there, in the yellow rooms, in the endless corridors, in the spaces between the walls of reality, forever, or at least until someone else reads about them, until someone else imagines them, until someone else makes them a little more real. And then the backrooms grow, and they remember you, and they wait for you to come back. Because you will come back. Everyone does. Eventually.